Welcome to Rule of Thirds, an offshoot of our Screen Refresh podcast. Our goal every episode is to take a little break from watching and analyzing movies to dive headfirst into some nostalgia or just get a little creative. So every month, we select a different topic and create a top 3 list that may or may not be near and dear to each of our hearts. Shoot us a message on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at Screen Refresh, or send an email to screenrefresh@gmail.com to let us know what your top 3 are or to suggest future topics. I'm your host, Tim, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Dean and Nick.
Greetings, evil listeners.
Hello there.
Today, we're going to be taking a look at media that has left us pleasantly surprised. Cue music. So, Dean, this was your idea, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So what?
It's one way of putting it.
This was the most difficult topic to wrap my head around.
Which is, it's funny, like, I was mulling over we have a, for the listener, we have a little database of ideas for these Rule of Thirds episodes. And it's like 15 pages long. There's like 500 ideas. So I just looked over them and hated all 500 ideas. No, there's good ones on there, but I thought of a movie that had come up recently in my life again. I hadn't watched it, but I was just talking about it.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I was really surprised that I liked that movie.
Old?
Because I hate Spider-Man. No. Just Tim was taking a random shot in the dark.
Old was pleasantly surprising. It's not on my list, but...
Toby? You mean the first Toby movie?
The Shyamalan?
Old? Yeah, the Shyamalan movie.
Oh, Old.
Yeah.
He said Spider-Man, you said Old. I thought you meant Old Spider-Man.
No.
And I thought, oh, well, that could be kind of a topic. And we've done Hidden Gems, which is like things that we think are good that more people should know about. But I think it's kind of different, because this could be... I know, like, Tim, one of yours is probably The Lord of the Rings, because you heard, like, how much you thought you would hate that movie. And then you sat down and watched it, and you're like, whoa, this is one of my favorite trilogies of all time.
I mean, whatever
it's the best movie
opposite
of all time.
Whatever the opposite of pleasantly surprises, like, I went in expecting to love it as a kid, and then I was like, I don't dislike it. It's just, yeah, it's not bad. It was pretty good.
I guess you were a kid in 2001, if that's when you saw it.
Yeah, I saw Fellowship of the Ring in theaters.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it at first?
Yeah. It almost made my list.
Like with many things, I would hear, like, that's coming out. I had never heard of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Which apparently was very popular as literature.
I only knew it from the cartoon movies.
Yeah, I don't even think I knew that it existed. My uncle turned me onto that after I realized it was a thing. But just now we're going to talk about Lord of the Rings. But that I was just joking, Tim. Yeah, I know you were like a kind of like that movie, but not really. But I just thought, oh, that'd be kind of a cool topic, like things that we heard people try to get us to watch it. We're like, I'm not going to like this or dig it, or just low expectations, and you're like, whoa, this was better than I thought.
Yeah, it was difficult, I think, because for the most part, I either go into things with zero expectations, or I go into things expecting, like, I'm either going to like this or dislike this, and it's usually accurate, and I'm like, yeah, I'm right, like, I didn't really care for that. I don't recall too many times where I go in expecting, like, one way or the other, and I'm like, oh, actually, I'm pleasantly surprised by this. Except the 3 that made my list.
You dug them out.
And I kept this separate in my head from the other topic that I brought up one time that I wanted to do of media that you changed your mind on later on. So it's not so much I was pleasantly surprised. It's just like I didn't like it initially and it grew on me kind of deal.
I kind of looked at it as one and the same.
Then...
Sorry?
You're going to have a great time if I ever do that other topic.
Listener, I live to raise Tim's blood pressure. So the fact that we're separated by a screen, the mug that he just sipped out of should have been bashed through my face. I'm winning.
I've never seen Tim become violent. Is that because are you laughing because he has?
Yes.
I've never been violent. I've been passionately heated.
So I'm going to start off with a bang and say my first pleasant surprise is actually Street Fighter as a whole.
Capcom Street Fighter 2! No way! Wait! There's Guile, Ryu, Zangief, Blanca, and Dhalsim! What's a Dhalsim? Oh, some with real ninja moves! Hey!
But Cobra's got Street Fighters too!
Vega, Sagat, Balrog!
And me, El Bison!
They look unbeatable! God!
But Street Fighter 4 is where the pleasant surprise comes from. And I laugh because that is Tim's source of violence. So
I used to get a bit livid.
The series has been out, since the 90s. I didn't care. The little research that I did is from Street Fighter 4, and that's it. So everything leading up to that point, just really, I didn't care. I was a Mortal Kombat kid growing up, and it was always, Nintendo versus Sega, Pepsi versus Coke, Apple versus PC, and in this case, just like the rest, Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat, and Mortal Kombat all the way. Didn't care for Street Fighter, always thought it was stupid. And then Street Fighter 4 came out, and a buddy of mine at the time was like, hey, there's going to be like a tournament at the local GameStop. I'm going to join it. You should, come along. And I'm thinking like, all right, whatever. And I start playing, and I'm slowly kind of getting into it. And I'm trying all the different characters. And finally, I found my future main. But I wasn't too good with him, so I went with Ryu at first. And then I went to the tournament, and I just got my face dragged through the ground. It was fucking brutal to the point where anytime I face, it was against Abel. And ever since then, every time I face another rando that's playing as Abel, I have that flashback to that time when I was at that GameStop just getting fucking destroyed.
Stop! Stop! He's already dead.
So it's kind of tough to think of those memories every now and then, but flash forward, just after years of practicing and just literally getting good, I really started to fall in love with the intricacies of how complicated the game can get, and all the different hitboxes and subtle frames that if you're at this spot versus that spot, it'll be a hit versus a miss, and it really grew to appreciate it more. And it actually went in reverse, and how over time now I don't even want to touch Mortal Kombat, whereas Street Fighter, like, I really wanted to like the newest one. It's just my main, and Bison is no longer, he doesn't play nearly the same way as he did in 4, and it was too much of a culture shock to relearn him how to play, and I just stopped playing 5 once I discovered that.
Yeah, I kind of a similar, like, I still played fighting games growing up over the years, but specifically Street Fighter, my only things was Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, like New Challengers or whatever. And I never really got huge into it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm excited to like get out of school and go home so I can play some Street Fighter. It was just like, yeah, it's okay. And our big thing was like all the crossovers, like Capcom versus SNK, Marvel versus Capcom, all of that. But until Street Fighter 4, when you got into it, and I think David was into it already because he was always a Street Fighter guy, was when I started getting into it. And that's when it got tough of you guys just trouncing me all the time, because I could just not click with it for years.
You did figure it out.
Oh yeah, eventually when I found like I need to stick with like Guile and Chun-Li. I really wanted to be like an Adon or a Ken character player, and I think it's not the character you want to play, it's the character that just fits your play style better.
Yeah.
I was a Mortal Kombat kid, but I had Street Fighter 2 for Sega as well, which I really liked. But that was the first and last, I think, Street Fighter game I ever purchased. Mom purchased. Somebody got me.
It's like the classic ones, they felt so much slower compared to Mortal Kombat, where it was a lot faster. The frame rate I felt was faster, and just the blood didn't draw me in. I honestly didn't give a shit. I played Trilogy was my first one, and that was pretty much like, here's everybody. And that was really cool to be able to play as like 40 plus something characters. I don't know, but it was pretty amazing and cool.
You didn't play Combat till the number 3?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was never on my radar. It's not like my mom said no. It's just I had all the other games to play.
I was playing in the 92. I was playing Mortal Kombat, but Street Fighter as well. I never played number 4. I mean, all those crossovers didn't play. Number 3, number 4. I did play 5, but I lost the desire to become good at those games. Like you were mentioning, like the precision, the frames for recovery, the frames for distance, I guess, or how if your strike's going to connect and just being so perfect. Like when I bought the new Mortal Kombat games, because they kind of become the same way. I just played through the story and then like just sold the game because I just want to see the story. I guess I could have just watched it, but I do like playing. I do like doing the fighting, but when you get on, like when it's like you're going to log on and play against people, I'm like, it's
tough.
What is the term? I'd be bodied. I would not have stand a chance even against probably novices.
Well, I mean, it's the same case as like any sport of, if you're playing on the football team, it's not just you go do other things and then it's, oh, hey, we have a game Friday. And you just go, it's like, no, you have to put in practice.
Yeah.
And I don't really have the time or interest to be like, yep, time to go into the training room and just like work the lab for 4 hours a day to make sure I get all my frames and combos down. I have a lot of fun with it, but once it becomes work like that, that's when it loses me. And I'm like, I can't keep up with that.
Yeah, it is just like a skill you want to develop to like be competitive. Whereas I just grew very much into the single player experience kind of gamer. For the most part. Cooperative games are a different story, but
that's why they need a cooperative Mortal Kombat.
Mortal
Kombat tag.
What if you can do that? Like, yeah, like tag team or just, I don't know.
I'm sure they made one at one point.
If they brought it back 3D, like Shaolin Monk style, it could be like a cooperative tag match.
Someday
they'll do Mortal Kombat again. Yeah. Yeah, Street Fighter. It's funny. I grew up loving that game, and as you might know, I collect action figures, and I finally took the leap into getting some Street Fighter figures. Right now, Guile is flash kicking Sagat on my shelf. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Every so often, I want to re-download like 4 or 5 and just give it another go. Now that 5 is completely done, and they added the last character for this generation, I might pick up if they have like the Ultimate Edition kind of deal and check it out for another weekend or something.
Yeah, I'll pick it up when they make the Ultimate Super Force Fighting Extra one that comes out like 3 versions after.
Where it's always like, oh, we finally have it where you can get every character all in one spot.
How did those releases go? Because I think I just had vanilla Street Fighter 2. I might have been Turbo Edition, I guess. I'm just curious as how many of those actually got released to like consoles.
I mean, I think Street Fighter 2 alone had something like 3 or 4, if I recall. Because it was like 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2.
The new Challengers.
Yeah, the new Challengers or whatever, like the new Warriors. And then I
World
think
Warrior,
Rainbow, but Rainbow wasn't like an actual edition. I think that was like a hacked version or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, it's always like they release one, and then they'll release like the Super Edition, then the Ultimate Edition, and then like the Super Ultimate Complete Edition.
I just didn't know how many of those like were like, oh, I can go and keep buying this for my SNES or Genesis.
Well, they're still doing that practice because Street Fighter 4 had a lot. There's at least like 4 different versions of it, and I'm pretty sure 5 did the same exact thing.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting for whatever the final version is of that, rather than, because I have the base game, and rather than sitting there and like purchasing all of the DLC and characters, I'm just going to wait.
They released for the Switch, the Final Challengers, which I think has like every iteration, maybe like 3 and 4, not 4, maybe 3 is on there, maybe 1, 2, and 3, and every version of those games for Switch. Did you guys see that?
That
was a couple of years ago, I think that came out. I think, but yeah, love Street Fighter.
That's my first choice.
So, Dean, seeing as it's your topic, do you want me to let you go last and you can back clean up on this thing?
I went last on the one that wasn't mine. I don't think I've gone first yet. Or at least
I'm sorry.
Too
you
late.
Want to go first?
You could go first.
Let's pretend I went first. we'll just swap
Chop
it.
this part, move it to the front, and then when people listen to this and they're like, do you want to go first? They're like, that's weird. This is the first one.
But keep this segment. Don't cut out this specific segment right here.
You know, it's funny. I thought when I chose this topic that at least Tim, I guess I thought, was like, I feel like you consume a lot. I was like, there must be like, and you both play so many games, more than I do. I was like, there must be some games you guys thought like you wouldn't like, but you turned out to like.
Oh wait, is this specifically?
But I guess
games?
It was harder. No, but
okay.
I know you guys.
Say,
you probably consume more than I do as a whole, but I was like specifically games. I don't play as much as you guys.
That's debatable. I don't play a lot of games.
No,
I really don't. Yeah,
you're like everybody's on Steam. You got like huge Steam libraries, and you're trying. At least it seems like Tim. I thought you both like just try games.
Dean, have you seen my Steam library? It's like 30 Star Wars games from the 90s.
Well, there you go. You must have. Well, if it's Star Wars, you probably thought I'm going to love this, and you never had a low expectation.
I probably play 7 new games a week.
Yeah, no, I play 7 new games a year.
But you play them to completion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought when I come up with this, it's like, oh, they'll probably be able to come up with something. Then you both are. I'm surprised Tim was like, I don't know.
The entire time I was banging my head trying to think of this 3 list, I kept thinking of during the holidays when I said, I have an idea for an episode. How about we do like your top 3 favorite like gifts from childhood or like top 3 games or Christmas memories? And you were like, I can't think of any of those. I can't do that topic. And then you use this. And I'm like, wait, so you couldn't think of any of those? Not 3 gifts from Christmas time. But you can come up with 3 pleasant surprises.
I will say I came up with the idea and I didn't really have a list. So I was just as much like, what am I going to do? I had one, I guess, which gave me the idea, and I was like, shit, I'll have to come up with some other ones. My memory's just bad enough as it is, so...
Well, the next one's top 3 heroic moments in any media, so have fun.
It's Dean choosing this.
Just him going up against Tim. I don't have a clue what the next topic will be. Figure it out. Top 3.
So, Dean, what's your number 3?
What's my number 3? I don't think these go in any order, but let's first talk about a movie. And I've realized this might be on like lots of people. If the layperson had to come up with this list, this might be on it too. But because it was surprising, and it kind of looked bad. This was I didn't write down the year. I want to say it's 2015. No, I don't know. Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill go back to high school as undercover drug cops in 21 Jump Street, the movie.
We got our first bust. You forgot to read him his Miranda rights. Do you even know the Miranda rights?
You have the right to remain an attorney.
You do have the right to be an attorney if you want to.
We're reviving a canceled undercover program.
You will be going in as high school students.
You have exceptional muscle tone, young man. When'd you go through puberty? Like 7 or something? All I do is party.
Hey, when did I get stabbed? That's awesome!
Yeah! 21 Jump Street.
I thought you were going to say I didn't write down the title.
You know the movie though. It had
those 2 guys
What's
in
that
it.
One?
Help me out. I actually now that you say this, I agree.
Yeah, I just remember even Laura said like, yeah, you said this was going to be dumb, but like I think she wanted to go see it.
Yeah, it's so good. It actually got a pretty quick sequel, if I recall right.
It did, yeah. Which I would say is more of the same, which is in a good way. You know, I enjoyed it. Like, maybe, obviously, expectations were set, but yeah, I enjoyed that as well. But it was just like, I don't know, I guess I didn't really have an opinion on Channing Tatum. I thought he was kind of like a teeny bopper heartthrob. I don't know what he got. Was he like a
Magic Mike?
Was he on TV? Yeah, but like, where did he rise? Where did he rise up?
Where was the rise of Channing Tatum?
Where was the rise of Channing Tatum?
Sounds like a new G.I. Joe movie.
I just thought he was like a pretty face, but he was actually really funny. I mean, Jonah Hill was already a comedy kind of powerhouse with Superbad and everything. It just like seeing, you know, it's loosely based on the original 21 Jump Street. And just, yeah, I just went into it with like, this isn't going to be bad. And like, I cried laughing at parts. Great turns from Ice Cube and Rob Riggle.
Dave Franco.
Dave Franco's good. Brie Larson.
Oh, I forgot that she was in the first one.
Yeah, Channing and Jonah carry it. I think equally. I think they you know, it's kind of like they start out in high school. It's like it's like us in the 90s in high school.
Yeah, he looks like Eminem.
Yeah, I did my hair like that. I had like blonde on top. I think his is just like blonde on the top like that, and it was a weird time for fashion and all that shit. I think one of them had like that ball choker necklace too. It was like the balls.
Jonah
metal
Hill
balls. Did. Yeah, Jonah Hill was pretty much what I looked like in high school. In this movie, when it shows them in high school. So yeah, like Jonah's like kind of the slightly outcast kid, and Channing is the jock all-star football captain. And then they go to police academy, end up going to police academy together, and get stuck together. And like they're put on like like bike cops in the park. There's a great sequence of them running down these bikers. Jonah Hill starts shooting his gun off. Like, we're going to arrest people. And like everybody, the park starts running because there's gunfire.
Fuck you, Bart! And what? Arrest people now! What up, Bart? What's up? What up, What's up?
I mean, it's one of those movies where it's like, you know, there's heavy improv going on, but it pays off.
Yeah. Like, I know we said Channing Tatum kind of surprised specifically in this movie. Like, I know he'd been around for like 10 years prior to this, because he was in like the Step Up movies. He was in like She's the Man, the Amanda Bynes one.
Okay, yeah. So that's why I was kind of thought like, okay.
But like he had been around for a while, but I never crossed my mind until this movie probably. And then I realized like, no, he's actually pretty funny when he wants to do like a comedic role. So I ended up following him for like other projects and things, and he was in Logan Lucky, I think Steven Soderbergh movie with Adam Driver. That was like the Southern heist, but it was him getting to do more of like a continued comedic role, except that was a little less kind of dumb 21 Jump Street humor and a little bit more along the lines of like the Ocean's trilogy kind of thing.
Yeah, but that example is much more recent, though, so he's already made himself and established himself. Because this was after Adam Driver did Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Logan Lucky, I think, was like 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie came out in 2012. It's older than I remember.
Oh, yeah.
I knew I saw it with my wife, but that would have been pretty early on in our relationship.
Did I see that with you guys? Or the sequel?
I wasn't living in, but I was visiting, so I don't know.
Because I think you guys all saw it together because something had come up where I couldn't go and you guys all went.
Maybe it was
because I remember being back at the apartment while you guys were at the movies.
Maybe it was the sequel, because the first one came out in 2012 and I didn't move to Mass until 2013. Jake Johnson from New Girl's in this, well, of New Girl fame. Chris Parnell, Ellie Kemper, Nick Offerman. There's just lots of little appearances.
I don't remember
from people
Jake Johnson in that.
He's the principal.
Oh, yes.
He's like,
you punched a little gay black kid in the face. It's not even second period. How do you explain that?
Miss Daddy, I'm so sorry about that.
Look, guys, I'm gonna relate to you, okay? A kid died the other day from drugs, and nobody, including me, is doing anything about it. That's weird, guys. And then you two show up with 30 days left, causing trouble in my school. I am one more black gay kid getting punched in the face away from a nervous breakdown. Do I make myself clear?
Because the first day back, Channing and when they're undercover going back to high school to find the drug dealers, they're like establishing themselves, and he just ends up punching this kid.
Look at him. He's trying. He's actually trying. What a nerd. Look at the nerd. Look at the nerd. Look at him. Look at the nerd.
Who you calling a nerd, man?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh! Shit, dude. Hey, are you okay, man? Hey, what the hell? Are you serious?
Don't turn that gay-ass music off.
You punched me because I'm gay?
What? No, Oh, come on.
That's not cool, man. That is really insensitive.
I didn't punch him because he's gay. I punched him, and then he's happened to turn out to be gay afterwards.
I was gay when you punched me. In a weird way, it might have been homophobic not to punch you just because you were gay.
Right.
It's been a long time since I'd seen it. I want to say more about it. I have a lot of good memories with it, and I like both it and its sequel equally. And
yeah,
I think you are right about it being a pleasant surprise, because it did look like just like a cheap, almost like a Superbad kind of thing. Like, you know, it's going to be good, yes, but you kind of know what to expect. And just, I set the bar really low, and it performed way better than I expected.
Yeah, I think comedies are probably, I would think comedies are the easiest thing to come up with on this list, because there's you probably see lots of trailers, you're like, this looks dumb, or like, I don't like this person, and then you go and see it and you're actually laughing, and that's just what this turned out to be. Ice Cube plays like the loud black police cop that he like says verbatim.
I know what you're thinking. Angry, black captain. It ain't nothing but a stupid stereotype. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? I'm black, and I work my ass off to be the captain. And sometimes I get angry. So suck a dick!
21 Jump Street is like a Korean church. There's like a Korean...
the Korean Jesus.
Jesus, yeah. It's like where their base is.
Well, I just like how in the sequel they have to relocate, and it's like they just moved the headquarters to 22 Jump Street. It's across the street.
It was bittersweet seeing the exit credits for the sequel, the second one, because it was cool to see all the potential movies, and at the same time, I'm really hoping that please keep making these, because these are great.
I think they could definitely pick it up now, where it wouldn't. Obviously, they couldn't do high school. I mean, maybe that'd be part of the joke, but.
Well, I mean, even in the sequel, they moved to college because they're like, you guys can't pass as high school anymore.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, they should definitely revisit this. I think they could come up with something. I mean, they're simple plots, you know, it's kind of maybe some twists and turns here with people, but it's run of the mill. But what makes it is just the sequences and scenes that they come up with are just really funny. Like the drug scene in the first movie is one of the standout parts to me, when they take the drug and then they're trying to make each other vomit in the men's room. Like they're sticking fingers down each other's throats, like gagging.
Come on, man. I'm just trying.
Dude, let's just finger each other's mouths.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're not fingering my mouth.
Do you want to die? Do you want to die?
Okay, fine.
Let's go. Come on. Come on. Come on.
If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It was a big release movie, but I think it performed well. Like, it was received well. I just had low expectations for it. That's why it's on the list.
So, good pick.
Tim, what is yours?
So, like you said, comedies are a very easy thing to find for this list, just because there's a lot of pleasant surprises with them. So that's why my number 3 is 2016's Ouija: The Origin of Evil.
What's this?
A Ouija board. Spirit, can you hear me?
Whatever came through that board is coming for all of us.
What do we do? Pray.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Rated PG-13.
So this was the so this was the prequel to Ouija. That was like a teen horror movie of a girl using a Ouija board and all this stuff. I remember that coming out and I did not care for it. I was like, this is the typical, like, all of the same
horror tropes.
Well, yeah, and it was
figure out what each thing is going to happen before it does.
Yeah, like it was during that time frame of they were doing like the remake of When a Stranger Calls and all these different things that it was all the very similar feel, tone, even the way it was shot. So like Ouija, it's like, yeah, I've seen this a dozen times. It's just a supernatural slant in the teen horror movie craze from like the late 2000s, early 2010s kind of deal. But then the sequel, Origin of Evil, well, the prequel, Origin of Evil, ended up being directed by Mike Flanagan, who now everybody knows from like Midnight Mass and The Haunting of Bly Manor and the remake, well, not remake, the sequel, Dr. Sleep, like all those types of things. But this one, it was a lot more interesting to me because then it ends up taking this to like a 70s period piece kind of deal, and it's like a single mother with her two daughters, and she's like a fake psychic who they're all in on it and they're working together of like moving things under the table kind of deal to make money and kind of make ends meet. And then they find a Ouija board, and then the youngest daughter is like able to talk to spirits, and then they start kind of getting involved into that, thinking like, oh, she actually has a power she can use and we can make money off this. And then it slowly like starts going crazier as time goes on. But for a movie that I did not care for the original, and I didn't really care for the tone and whatnot of it, the prequel ended up being, I mean, granted, some jump scares here and there, but a lot of genuinely just like creepy moments. I liked the characters. I liked all the acting in it. And it ended up kind of really setting itself apart from where it originally came from there, which it kind of ties itself in at the very end. If I recall, there's just like a brief thing in the after credits that loops into the beginning of the original Ouija.
I don't do Ouija boards, period. Nope.
I was just going to say, like, Nick, you would love this, right?
Nope, I don't fucking care. You could, hey, we're going to watch this movie. It's just, I'm gone. No thanks. Nope.
I remember seeing this movie on a whim, and I don't know. So this was during the time when I was still traveling a lot more for work, before I got into like management and whatnot. But it was, my whole thing was every time I would land in a location for work, it would usually be the day before whatever my visit was with my client. So it would be, I would land, I would leave the airport, I would find like the nearest theater, and I would just see like what's playing next, and I would just sit down and watch it. It would be my way to just like sit down for a second, unwind from like the trip, and just see some movies that otherwise I normally wouldn't sit down for. And the next one playing was Origin of Evil, and I was like, you know what? I like Mike Flanagan. He had a couple things out by that time, and I said, like, I'll just buy a ticket, let's see how it goes. I went in, it was like me and one couple that was in the theater at the time, and I was like sitting off in the corner, and I would just watch them jump at all these scenes, and I ended up having like a great time watching this movie. And then I ended up leaving, and I'm walking around and just like recommending Origin of Evil to everybody, and then having to explain this exact situation of, don't watch Ouija.
We just have like a hospital like explaining this to everybody.
Yes. A lot of my clients at the time, I would work with them and be like, oh, it's like, where is the Lizzie board? Tim would know. He likes spooky things. And it's like, well, that's accurate. It's like, I'm not offended. It makes sense. You're not wrong.
And listener, he does not work as a nurse in a hospital, so his clients are not patients. They're the actual hospital workers. So it's just funnier to think that, you know, cue life support music or sound effects as you're trying to explain the plot of this movie, and then as it gets to the spookier bits, the thing starts going up higher.
Lord, I'm having a heart attack! Damn, this is some scary shit!
Ouija Origin of Evil. Go check it out. It's worth seeing once.
Dare I say twice?
Brought to you by Hasbro. So, Nick, you're number 2.
Wait, does Hasbro make Ouija boards?
Yes.
Why have you come here?
I like to hear them scream.
Why don't you just leave us alone?
Shut up, you old cow!
New from Hasbro.
The Origin of Evil, brought to you by Parker Brothers.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's just for them to deliver something. I can't even say the words to be like. It's so innocent. No, it's just really fucked up intention. I don't know. I have spiritual conflict when it comes to associating with one of those boards of death. No, thank you. I don't want to say I'm superstitious, but I am definitely a little stitious. So my second pick is going to be Minecraft.
The thing that Nick picked is Minecraft. There are no commercials for Minecraft. I made this song to explain Minecraft. Let me give it a shot. The world is made up of square blocks. You can build anything with those blocks. Skeletons will try and kill you lots, so try and build a shelter. Okay, that's all I really know. Now let's get back to the show. Nick will give you the blow-by-blow. Support my songs on SoundCloud.
Came out in 2009. I didn't get it. Tried it. Didn't like it. Put it on the shelf. Never revisit. I did revisit it. Didn't visit it once again for another 10 years. Funny enough. Wow, it's crazy it's been that long. There's some YouTube guy I was watching that did 100 days in hardcore Minecraft, and it was themed to Jurassic Park. So I thought, this is actually really, really fucking cool. Let me try this, and I did. I got up to like day 79 before.
That's right. Your marathon.
Yeah, I remember in Discord you kept like the diary.
Yeah. It was actually really fun to do, and I had no idea what I was doing the entire process of it. So it was me learning how to mod the game, how to play the game, and how to play the mod all at the same time. So it was one hell of a learning experience. And once I got through, I almost got to the end. Did I do 100 days? Where's my last entry was like day 75 out of 100.
It's been 84 years.
It wasn't so much I was getting bored of it, but just the mod wasn't working as much as I wanted it to, and it just kind of took away from the experience. But once I was done with it, it was actually really enjoyable and fun. And then Neebs Gaming, another YouTube channel that I mentioned before, and I love them a lot. They have a series of them playing in Minecraft, and just seeing how the server starts off as, and just like rolling plains, mountains, yada yada, just pixelated terrain, and then eventually grows into this huge town, and then you have to realize these guys made this thing. It wasn't like they just spawned it in or anything like that. No, it was made from the ground up. So it's super impressive to see what people are capable of, and took my own hand at trying it out, and my wife and I were playing it, and we put in good 3 months into our last server, and it was actually really fun to do. And it's a lot harder and kind of scarier than you would actually expect it to be. I thought it would always be purely a kid's game, almost like Five Nights at Freddy's, but once you're actually playing the thing, there are some moments where it's like actually kind of fucking spooky.
Damn, this is some scary shit!
Is it? I mean, aren't there like enemies and shit like that can come and wreck your? I mean, it's a sandbox game, right?
Yeah.
There's not really a through line,
right?
It's just like enemies can come and just like wreck your shit.
Yeah, there's like raiders
and other players.
There's villages that you can visit and basically steal stuff from them, but you could also wrangle the visitors to come back to your kind of like town thing, whatever. And then you could trade them stuff for them to give you items back in return. If you're hostile towards them, you can get raided by this like caravan of like different raiders. And then there's like a raid bar. Remember when we played Conan and how if we built too much?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Almost like that, but it was more of a hate system, not just you're growing too fast in a short period of time kind of thing. And there's also like spooky things at night, like skeletons and spiders that can come and kill you.
Bears, rhinos, and shit.
Yeah, so I remember when Minecraft updated with their legendary hate system.
Yeah.
Just imagine them saying that, like, yes, we've upgraded the hate system. The hate is more accurate.
Let the hate flow through you.
Minecraft was something I never really cared for when it came out, and I never went back to it. Like I saw when you ended up going back, and it all your little excerpts and whatnot were interesting. But I feel like even though graphics don't make a game, the graphics turned me off to it, because it's like, if it's a survival game and it's not anything in particular that it's doing that I can't get out of another survival game, then I'll just go with the survival game that has better graphics, if that's the case. Like,
Yeah.
Granted, I know, like, you can build, like, people have built working Super Mario games in Minecraft. No idea how that works. But I also don't have the time to do that.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass getting the mods set up, and I'm sure some listeners are like, it's super easy, and I'm a tech guy, and reading through the layers of instruction to make sure that you have the right version with Java involved, and not knowing anything about this game, it's a lot tougher than I just bought Skyrim, and I'm going to throw a bunch of mods on there. I thought it was a little bit more to it than that. And yeah, you can make Minecraft look like going from Super Mario 3 to fucking Super Mario Galaxy. You can get mods to make it look that impressive, but it's a lot more difficult than someone wanting to just hop in and not have to deal with that at the same time.
Thank you. This has been a Minecraft discussion.
So, Dean, you're number 2. Number
Number 2. Which one am I going to talk about? Shit. Wait, I'm not done choosing it. Wait, I need another minute. You can go.
Okay, well.
No. Okay, which one?
Hopefully neither one of them are on my list.
I doubt it. I highly doubt these are on your lists. So I'm gonna go with... It's a comic.
What?
As you know, I'm a big comic guy.
Gooble gobble, gooble gobble.
I expected not to like this because Tim recommended it.
What's that mean?
You and I have very different... No, I'm just fucking with you. I guess comics as a whole, you did recommend this to me, but I kind of I was like, I'll try it, but I don't know. I just comics haven't really been my thing, and except for, I think, recently I've gotten into the Turtles, but just because I was more interested, let's check out the origin of the Turtles. And I think I read Watchmen, really loved Watchmen, and I think this kind of goes along... I would put this more with Watchmen than anything else I've read, I guess, but it's Immortal Hulk.
Hulk! Smash!
I'm always excited for more people to read Immortal Hulk.
I'll see myself out.
I haven't read a Hulk comic, so let's go watch Lord of the Rings, but I haven't seen the first two. I was like, well, you'll kind of get what's going on.
I mean, I remember a time when I was a kid where my dad walked in where I was sitting watching The Matrix, and he comes in the last 18 minutes and he does, so what did I miss with this? Well, a bit.
It's funny though. I guess when I started reading this, I realized I'm much more aware of Hulk story pieces, if you will, than I thought I was, and that's probably just by having consumed the Marvel movies, but I guess just in video games and just knowing you guys, and I was kind of aware of most of the characters and such in the story, but didn't know these big setups, I guess, that had happened in other stories and other series from years past. but it didn't take away from it. And that's, I think, kind of why I was expecting, like, I might read this and realize I have to go back and read everything else just to understand it, but I don't think that was the case. I mainly referenced things, and I was kind of like, spoilers, whatever. I was like, oh, Betty is a monster, like, she's got gamma radiation. Thunderbolt Ross was the Red Hulk, right? Is that correct? Yeah, I had no idea. I just thought there were other versions of the Hulk. And those are kind of referenced, and so I was like, okay, so I build pieces as it goes on, and it doesn't take away from, like, surprises or twists and turns and things. And it's just, like, very well written. Like,
yeah. Well, my big thing for years was I hated the Hulk. I did not like the Hulk as a character, like, and then Immortal Hulk popped up, and it was like 2 issues in or something, and I said, like, you know what? I took a look at it, and I usually, like, skim the first couple pages as, like, the preview thing. And I said, like, kind of cool. It's like they're doing a horror take on the Hulk. I dig it, and I checked it out, and even though it's such deep, like, Hulk mythology and lore in it, and they're referencing all of these other things, I feel like they never go too hard into it that they alienate the reader if they weren't already, like, reading everything. They do a good enough job that it's, like, Al Ewing is the writer on it, where you can get familiar with what's going on and just kind of follow along and just appreciate the story as it kind of builds on itself. So it's definitely, it was a good book just in general for anybody to read, whether you like the Hulk or not. But also, it's the big thing with comics is it's really never a great jumping in point for the most part. Just as long as, like, you start close to the beginning of whatever that writer's run is, and then just kind of try to pick things up and piece things together as time goes on, because otherwise nobody has the time to sit and go back to the first, like, appearance of the Hulk and read everything up to current.
Yeah.
I've been doing that.
I think the things that come out of left field, not out of left field, but what have been established is that, like, there's, like, a world inside Bruce's mind where all of his different personalities kind of hang out and take turns coming to the surface. And I guess the Devil Hulk was established in a story like in 2005 or something like that. So he's been around for a little while. I don't know how many appearances he's made, but this story pretty much focuses on the Devil Hulk persona. Like, I didn't know that he had different personalities. Like, I mean, other than just, it's Hulk and there's Banner, and then now I was like, oh no, there's like 5 other...
Yeah, there's
5
like
other variations.
Joe Fixit and the Child Hulk.
Savage Hulk.
Savage Hulk, and yeah.
Child Hulk's like the one that everybody would think of, I believe. As the Hulk. Hulk Smash Hulk. But yeah, there's cool stuff going on. I'm still actually haven't finished it, but it was good enough for me to mention because I've read more than half of it. I'm on like 31 out of 50. I think the leader just showed up. That's where I am.
Because I think last August they finished his run entirely, so that's done.
Yeah.
And now the new run of Hulk that they started back off on is Donny Cates, who his big thing recently was he did a long run on Venom that got a lot of buzz. Like if they talk about like the King in Black and all of that, like this whole big cosmic Venom thing going on, that's all Donny Cates, and now he's working on Hulk. So I will miss Al Ewing's Hulk. Because Immortal Hulk was terrific, but I'll be interested just to see kind of like what he works on next.
Follow the writer. You have to recommend something. I realized this list also was difficult because I don't take chances on shit. I guess with music, I used to be really... I'll try anything. Like, let's listen to a bunch of stuff and find out what I like. Nowadays, if there's not I don't know, I'll just be like, I need to hear what's good before I spend time doing it. I'm not experimenting too much.
That's my problem. There's way too much shit out there, and when it comes to food, I'm not picky, but when it comes to consuming media, the sheer suggestion alone is, unless it immediately appeals to me, I honestly don't pursue. And it's one of my negative traits, and I recognize it, I know it's there, but it's really hard to shake because, like, I tried watching Eternals the other day, got about halfway through it. I couldn't do it. And it's not that it was bad. It was good. It was fun, but just it didn't captivate me enough to really keep going because I noticed I was on my phone a little bit and then it just kind of slowly started to tune out. And I didn't realize how long it is, too. And I think that might have had something to do with it because it's just purely
it's
new.
Like 2:40 or something.
Yeah, it's purely new. You do have to really pay attention to it to focus, and I really wanted to watch it for the payoff for the end stinger, the mid-credit stinger. I really wanted it because they're bringing, for those that haven't seen, it's still relatively new enough that people may not have seen it for spoiler warning, but another Marvel character is supposed to be making their appearance soon, even though they announced it at one of the Comic-Cons. His first on-screen voice debut was going to be in it, and I wanted the context to go along with it, but I couldn't do it. It was tough for me. And there's so many things that unless it gets my attention immediately, man, like, I can't do it.
I still have not watched Eternals. I know it's on Disney Plus now.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I'll get around to it.
For a movie that they're trying to play catch up of, here's all a superhero team that you have not seen in the Marvel universe yet, but you're supposed to like them, and here's where they are now. Like, to shoehorn all of that into 2:40 or whatever, like 2:30. I enjoyed it. At no point did I really feel like, oh my God, like checking my watch. Like, I'm not exactly scrambling to go watch it again, but I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed myself. It was a fun movie.
It did make me laugh where almost in the first 5 minutes, they answer the question everyone was asking, that if y'all are so powerful, why didn't you stop Thanos? And point blank, that question is answered almost immediately. And I thought that was kind of meta and funny that they actually had to address it.
Now I have to watch it just the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, which that's a cop-out with that whole thing, because it's like...
Is it like they were sleeping? We were sleeping.
Kinda. It's like, we promise not to get involved with mortal things. Really?
I mean, you say that in the trailer,
you then
kinda,
spend
right?
2.5 hours showing us you guys getting involved in mortal things throughout history. I don't know.
But they're protecting humans or the Earth? Or just specifically humans?
I think both.
Neither.
Gotcha.
They weren't protecting. They were the big bad, and that is the like alien cosmic race thing, the deviants. And they were just stationed there to ward off against. It wasn't so much they were protecting Earth. Actually, no, they were protecting Earth.
They were protecting Earth, and they had to make sure that the humans were surviving.
They're experimenting on us.
It's a cookbook. Yeah, like Immortal Hulk, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you are enjoying it. If you're into comics, and this goes for like listeners too, I am always down to chat comics or give recommendations. I read a lot of comics, like Marvel, DC, Image, Dynamite, Boom, like anything that seems cool, I will give a shot to. So if you have recommendations of your favorites, let me know. If you guys want recommendations, let me know, and we'll go from there. But Immortal Hulk, if you're looking for your superhero with some body horror going on, Immortal Hulk.
A Hulk that doesn't give a fuck. Well, he does, but there's a lot he doesn't give a fuck about.
I like in issue 2 where he lists all of them off. Here are things Hulk does not care about. So, do you have any other closing segments on Immortal Hulk before I give you my number 2?
What was that issue where like the fucking aliens like without form?
Wait, what?
Like, there's like an issue about like these two aliens. I think it's like at the end of all things, and there's like a huge Hulk like destroying planets.
Oh yeah, it was like the
future
it's like the
or
end
something.
of time thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Hulk's at the end of time destroying everyone.
I mean, they did the same thing, Donny Cates, with Venom, where they end up doing like the end of the universe type thing of at the end of time when all that's left is Venom or something like that. So clearly, evidently, at the end of time, it's any Marvel hero just by themselves.
Sure is quiet around here.
And then just a giant Hulk face just sliding in slowly from space.
Show me what you got.
Show Hulk what you got. So, my number 2 is a game, which actually is fairly recent. It was from 2020. Back when we were...
That's too recent. I said nothing past 2019.
Back when we were young and innocent in March of 2020. My pick is Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Your attention, please. The Nook Inc. Getaway Package charter flight will soon be arriving at the deserted island.
The perfect pandemic game.
It was.
I never cared about Animal Crossing. I had no interest. Like, I didn't hate the game. I just never played it because I just never had interest. I remember growing up, like, my friends had it on GameCube and they would play it for a bit and I would be like, nah, I'm good. Like, I don't need to play it. I don't need to check it out. Like, I'm all set. And then it wasn't even a case of, like, it was recommended to me. I didn't even, like, watch gameplay videos. Just for some reason, something broke in my brain in March of 2020. And I was like, I am home. I have my Switch. I'll just buy Animal Crossing New Horizons. It's a game where you're on an island and you're just kind of living your life and you make a tent and then you make a house and then you decorate that house and then you plant flowers and then you plant trees and then you go fishing. And I'm like, yeah, that's my speed right now. Like, let's do this. And I fell in love with that game. It didn't last. I know they've added things over time. I've gone back once or twice. But for like 2 or 3 weeks, those were really solid weeks.
People were jazzed about that game, right? I mean, like, coming out, they were like, the people that liked the first game were like, this is second coming of Jesus.
Yea, believe in me and ye shall find peace.
It was really well done. Yeah, no, Animal Crossing has a huge following. And I got into it just as much as Tim did, and I would read up on stuff and people were hella into it. Like,
yeah,
here's how you get this person to come to your island. And I'm like, why are they so hyped about this one guy? I don't get it.
That almost, like, that kind of turned me off to the game over time, is everyone I knew was playing it, but then it started turning into, like, here's the optimized whatever to, like, make sure you get the most metal, and this is how you can, like, spawn all these tarantulas so you can maximize your money and profit. And it's like, at that point, then it takes all the fun and whimsy out of the game. Like, I just want to do my thing. I don't want all of the, like, oh, why aren't you doing your turnip stocks or whatever it is, like, to maximize on Tuesdays when you can sell this and turn your profit for the best. It's like, I have a job outside of this. It's okay. Like, let me just go fishing.
Yeah, my wife, that's what got us a Switch, actually, was I think my wife wanted to play this game. She fell pretty hard into it. She hasn't revisited it in a while. She did, I think they did a big update and she went back and, like, checked everything out. But she was, like, visiting people's islands, and that was good. I mean, she was so into it. I got her, when she graduated, she got her master's degree, the cake that I got had Tom Nook on it, like, wishing her, congratulating her.
I remember years ago, for anybody that recalls the website Game FAQs, they used to have, like, this summer tournament type thing where people vote for their video game fights.
That was bittersweet.
And they have, like, the whole bracket of everybody versing each other. And I remember one year of Tom Nook just trouncing up to, like, he didn't win, but he got within, like, the last 15 and he beat out people like Snake. I could just picture Tom Nook going up against, like, Dante from Devil May Cry.
CQC.
Colonel, there's some raccoon. What's going on here?
I'm not leaving this island alive.
Colonel, I owe him a lot of money. What's he saying?
That's all.
So that's Animal Crossing's New Horizons.
I haven't played it since I thought it was funny on when Nintendo announced, like, the N64 emulator on the Switch. People were pissed because it was, like, a huge upcharge for this and that. and it came with like the Sega 2. And meanwhile, like on the other side of the fence, like all the people that are excited about the new Animal Crossing DLC that's coming free with that, they're like, yes, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But I felt bad for all the people that didn't play Animal Crossing. Womp womp.
Well, that's right. You had to pay for that update.
Yeah. I mean, in Laura's case, she got the Animal Crossing DLC, and then she got the N64 and Sega emulators for free. But
I gotta download some freaking Sega games. Sega! I'm definitely not utilizing my Switch to the full potential.
Pokemon Arceus Legends or whatever comes out in like 2 days.
I just heard about that. That's apparently like it's like Breath of the Wild, but Pokemon kind of.
It's like Pokemon Dark Souls.
And it's already breaking records that it's the best Pokemon game to date.
Sales records, you mean?
Reviewers are calling it the next
review records. Okay.
Yeah, the next like masterpiece. That this is seriously amazing for a game. And it's
I've never played a Pokemon game in my life.
Really?
Maybe I'll have to try this one. Yeah, never. I've never pushed start on a Pokemon game.
Huh.
And you'll find out why in my number one pick.
Because you were a Monster Rancher kid. So, Nick, you're number one.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter.
I did not like Harry Potter at first. Just like Lord of the Rings, I didn't care for it. I went on a date to see the second movie, and I'm like, all right, this is okay. The first movie, I remember it was snowing out. It was on pay-per-view, and I was like, fuck it, I'll watch it. I didn't really care for the first one. I mean, it wasn't bad. I watched the whole thing, but I didn't get the appeal. And this is the movies, mind you. I didn't care for the book at all. And it was just like hype train that I didn't understand. I thought it was kind of all the kids were focusing on the child aspects of Harry Potter, and I just didn't draw me in. Second one came out, I was like, this is okay. And I think this also was around the same time as The Two Towers coming out. So I was a little more drawn to that than the Harry Potter movies at this point. And then third movie came out, and that's when it's like, wait a minute.
No, wait a minute. Wait just one doggone minute here.
Okay, I can kind of see what's going on here. But I still continue to not read any of the books. I didn't care. And then the fourth movie came out, and that's when I'm like, all right, I need to know what happens next. Because every year a new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher gets assigned. You never know what's about to happen next, and it just... what the hell's going to happen for the fifth movie? I have no idea. This is going to actually be really cool. And that's when I couldn't take it anymore. I went to the store. I bought all the books that had come out at that point in time. And I think it was Half-Blood Prince had recently just come out in terms of the book. Because that was all of them were softcover that I bought except for Half-Blood Prince. That one was the hardcover and it didn't have a softcover available. So then at that point, I'm like, oh, cool. All right. I fully understand now why this is such a big deal. And then the sixth movie came out. No, fifth. Whatever. Wow, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan and I can't even think of the book. The fucking Order of the Phoenix. That's it. That movie came out. And at that point, I read the book. So I started to go in the opposite direction. Like, what the fuck? They butchered the movie. Like, nothing happens in the book nothing happens in the movie that happened in the book. They cut out. It's the thickest fucking book, and it's the shortest fucking movie. How does this work? And then by the time the Deathly Hallows came out, I was completely 100% behind it. I fully understood the hype. Was completely behind the bandwagon, and I remember going to see the last movie opening night, and it was like the double feature where you saw part 1 and then immediately followed by part 2. The entire theater was rented out to just Harry Potter movies. There was a guy dressed up as fucking Hagrid, and he was like 7 feet tall. Everyone was wearing dress robes. It was a fucking great time, and really enjoyed what that whole community brings. But it took a long time for me to finally get there and understand it, because it's very, much grows with the reader, so that if they start at that young age and then it eventually evolves into what it does, it definitely matures over time. And just, I guess I wasn't ready for it when I was already past that point, and I just needed something a bit more by the once I finally fully understood. First two books were kind of difficult to read as even like a late teenager, early young adult, because I was about like 18, so yeah.
Too happy-go-lucky.
I could never get into the Harry Potter books. I
never tried to read them.
I tried the first one, and it didn't click with me. I did like the movies. The movies were fun, but I just never went back to read the books.
The first book is really tough as an adult. And that's where the whole like pleasant surprises come from, because the first, I didn't get it. I saw the appeal, but just it wasn't for me. And it wasn't until the third movie is when it really starts to take a very specific turn for a more mature audience, where if you start reading from Prisoner of Azkaban and then onward, Goblet of Fire has a lot of mature themes too, because it starts delving with like, just coming of age, growing up. They're starting to like look at girls at a different way, and it helps getting into that mindset a lot better, because at least it's a lot more relatable than just wanting to play with candy and thinking that like, oh, this word is funny and I'm going to giggle at it. Like it's way beyond that, and it gets to more mature themes and shit.
Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
He said calmly.
Yeah, I was purely a Harry Potter movie person.
Mm-hmm.
I just never tried to read the books. I remember thinking, like, the first movie was like, yeah, it's cute. Definitely got a lot more interesting as it went on. It's a phenomenon I was on board with.
If we eventually cover the Harry Potter films, I will get into all my thoughts on Harry Potter then.
Get Sonya on the line. Get her in here. Get her in here.
Come on.
Hey, she's chomping at the bit to do a Harry Potter, get tagged in for a Harry Potter movie if you guys ever do it. But I feel like we would have to bring in Laura, sub Dean and I out for guest host for you, Nick. I remember, does anybody remember there was a series of books called Circle of Magic?
Never
back
heard of
in
it.
like the late 90s, early 2000s. I remember they were much shorter than the Harry Potter books, but it was about this like kid Randall who became like a squire, and then he would like learn magic from like the town wizard or whatever, and then he started going off on his own apprenticeship, and like the end of the book series ends with, I think it was like him being the mage for a kingdom, leading like an army in some sort of like war. And I remember that being like so much cooler than what was going on in Harry Potter at the time, and I was like, I don't need Harry Potter, I got my Circle of Magic. Harry Potter never led an army to war where he had to kill a guy.
That was some hipster shit you were reading. It does sound cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it was also for kids. It was like 6th to 8th grade reading level.
Wait, so there was war, but do they kind of like stay away from like talking about death?
People
or,
died.
Like, okay, but like severely? Or just like, oh, he fell in battle, not like his guts were spilled on the pavement.
it wasn't graphic from what I recall, but
Okay.
it's like people do die.
His skull split in twain.
Oh, Vada Kedavra. So, Dean, your final pleasant surprise, please. Por favor.
The most biggest surprise of all time.
Doing this show.
Doing the show. I thought I was going to hate it. Don't like you guys very much.
Wait till you hear Tim's pleasant surprise. My two co-hosts.
Thought I'd hate him.
I thought it would be terrible. This is a game that I was recommended. I guess it's back on the Xbox 360. I played it. I think you can play it on PC though. It's probably easier to play on PC, but my friend had it, so he let me borrow it. He kind of like pushed me to play it. And the reason I never played Pokemon or like Final Fantasy or lots of those games was because I was like, fuck this turn-taking combat bullshit. I needed action. I needed it now. I needed to swing a sword and knock people down and not go to a menu and tell them I wanted to swing a sword at them. I didn't look down on those games. It didn't pique my interest. Although I probably could go back and enjoy. I mean, I have. We've gone and played Divinity Original Sin. I mean, that's Dungeons and Dragons essentially as an RPG, and it's a lot of fun. But so I was expecting to like this game. My friend pushed me to play it, and it's some year it came out. It's called XCOM: Enemy Unknown.
Hello, Commander. In response to the alien threat, this Council of Nations has chosen to activate the XCOM project. You have full command of XCOM headquarters. You must learn more about the enemy to expand our capabilities, as well as the abilities of our operatives.
Never played it.
It's harsh.
Sexcom.
I always see the
Enemy
gray
Unknown
alien as like the cover art.
Yeah.
But I never got around to actually playing it.
Apparently, I wanted to do more research, but I didn't look into it. I guess it's based, or it's kind of a reboot of like a 90s.
Yeah, because I remember
computer
my
game.
dad used to play the PC one like ages ago. I remember it being tough.
I heard the same.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised because this game is tough.
Yeah, because I didn't play until like I watched him play the original, and then I picked up XCOM, like not for 360, for actually I think it might have been 360 because I didn't play it on PC at that time, and it was fun. It was just tough. It's unforgiving.
It's very tough. It's unforgiving. I actually have never finished it, but I had such a good time trying to play it. Nick, it's like I don't know if you've seen anything from it, but it's turn-based, squad-based. So kind of like Divinity, just because that's our common ground, where your whole squad takes turns going. Essentially, it's an alien invasion story, and the world has assembled the XCOM, the extraterrestrial combatant force, and it's just like you going on missions throughout the game to repel this enemy, this alien invasion. And it's turn-based. Everybody makes their move, then the aliens make their move, and you just got to take them out. And there's leaps and bounds in like difficulty and from map to map. But yeah, so it's like turn-based combat, like firing your guns and suppressing the enemy, like deciding which strategy you're going to go with your squad. And your squad, if they survive the map, will carry on and like gain experience and, you know, become a better asset. But they can die. And that's like it's surprising how much attachment I got to like characters that you make, and like they've been with you for so long, and you're like playing a tough map and like you get no good place, but like your veteran like gets killed. And you can choose to restart it, and like, but if you're so close to beating this hard map, you're like, I have to carry on, and then you finish it, and like they're gone. Like you have to, you lose people.
Yeah, like my campaign started with like, well, somebody needs to carry a shotgun. Sorry, buddy, it's your job now. And then like 5 missions later, it's like, Jim Valdez, my shotgun master, has gone down. We'll carry on in his name.
Oh. Go on without me. All right. Well, see you later.
Yeah, so it force you into an attachment, like, because you recruit new people and they start from the ground up on experience, you know. I don't recall if like you could, as you progress, like you could maybe start people with better weapons and stuff, but their experience is not very good. So, and I don't know if I didn't get so far in the game as to like, what if you had like no veterans? Could you even keep going? I don't know. Because, like, the experience definitely helps. And
I never beat it. I eventually, like, I played it until, like, I got, I think, like, a third of the way or halfway. And finally I was like, I'm good. Something else came out. I'm just moving on.
It kind of makes me want to go back and try it. Or at least maybe the sequel or something.
Yeah.
XCOM 2 is still $60 on Steam.
What are they, Nintendo?
There was that. I know, Tim, you and I tried. There was a demo like a year and a half ago or a year ago.
Yes, during one of the games
where we
fests,
tried.
It was Project something where you're like the SWAT
same exact
type
idea
deal. Yeah, but it was cool because that was the one where instead of just relying on like a random number for the accuracy for when you fire, you get to actually aim when you fire, and then it'll just kind of like affect how that shoots, but you have a little bit more control over it, which I thought was cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it.
There's a meme I saw of that, and it's like it's from XCOM because I recognize the alien, but I guess it shows the accuracy of the headshot, and it's at like 99%, and the caption just says like missed.
I like when you kill the aliens, at least the basic aliens in that game, they scream like the Predator does when he's caught in the trap. He's like, "Meow!" They scream like a bitch. I don't choose to go to turn-based combat games unless like you guys or somebody like really recommends it, or I can have fun with them, but it's not my first forte. So I was kind of like, am I really going to enjoy this? And I was surprised at how much fun and challenging, even though it was so challenging, it was fun. Because the winning was just made it much more enjoyable, or rewarding.
Hey, winning makes it enjoyable too. The game we played when the beta of Dean was Project Haven. It's still not out on Steam. It's ETA's 2022. But for anybody that digs like kind of a tactics co-op game, like that's worth checking out when that releases.
Was there no beta? It's just a not out kind of thing?
Yeah, I think it was we only got to play it because it was during the Games Fest. But then once Games Fest was over, like the demo goes down.
Gotcha. Yeah, we should check that out when it does.
Yeah.
I'll put it on my
list. That, and of course Baldur's Gate 3, but when that eventually releases. I don't want to play it too soon.
I really miss Divinity. I really, really do.
I've played it again on my own 5 times since then. No, I haven't. But there are a lot of ways to go with that game.
Yeah.
Nick sent us a meme of XCOM.
That's the
Is
meme
that from
I
the
was talking
game?
about. Yeah.
That's like really advanced graphics compared to the first one.
I got it mixed up. It's the guy's literally has the muzzle of his gun pressed against the alien's face. And then it shows him that his hit chance is 65%. And then it zooms in on the actual picture, and that muzzle is right against his face. If the alien had a nose, it would be inside the barrel. 65%.
Both hands holding the barrel in his own mouth. 47%.
Do it, you pussy!
He just slaps the gun and headbutts.
XCOM, go and play it. Be prepared to lose soldiers that you're really attached to.
And then when you're done with that, prepare to watch this movie that is my number 1 for pleasant surprises. This is actually a series of movies that I had no interest in. I didn't care for. I never felt a need to check it out. And then when you were still living in Massachusetts, Dean, you and your wife were going to the movies to see one of them, and I tagged along, and I was sitting in the theater on Wikipedia trying to figure out what's the storyline to the Fast and the Furious franchise before this next one comes on.
It's about family.
You don't turn your back on family, even when they do. But what's real is family. I don't have friends. I got family.
That's all you need to know.
So I never saw a Fast and the Furious film. And then I think I came in with you guys.
I think it was
during
5.
the movie where Letty comes back from the dead or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, she's back. And then I'm like, where'd she go?
I think it was Fast 5 in Brazil. Yeah.
Or was it Fast 4 is in Brazil? Because Fast 5 no, I
Fast
think you're
5
right.
is Brazil, yeah.
Which is the one that
with
had
the vault
Kurt.
scene at the end?
Kurt Russell was the one that I saw with you guys.
I think he didn't come till 6.
Yeah.
I still have not seen the space one.
Oh, F9?
I did end up seeing 9 finally.
I haven't seen it yet. I want to.
It's fantastic.
It's just summer blockbuster fare. And it gets more and more ridiculous with every movie. But I feel like it doesn't... Well, the actors may sometimes, but I feel like the movie itself never takes itself that seriously that you can actually have fun with it. Like, you're not making fun of the movie. It's like, no, the movie's having fun too. Like, they know that it's ridiculous that they're like parachuting cars out of the back of a plane or like jumping across a highway.
Which sounds possible.
Yeah.
You know, what's that game, Just Cause, where like you have that you can like grapple hook anything?
You can like grapple hook a cow to the back of a jumbo jet.
Well, just in the newest movie, I think it's in the trailer, where he like jumps across that cavern, or it's the bridge is out, so he like shoots a grappling hook. I don't know. He swings the car across.
I think it was web fluid.
The chasm. He does a Just Cause and just fling, and the car swings like he's Tarzan, like across the chasm.
I'm waiting at the end of the next Jurassic World movie for the stinger to have like the T-Rex walking along, and then it almost gets hit by like Dom's Charger, and then you just see him look in the mirror and he's like, what the fuck was that? And then it just immediately cut to black, and then it just shows like Fast 10, 65 million years in the making.
Oh my god. I know we're going off not topic. We're on topic still too, but Fast and the Furious. Now that No Way Home has come out and it has done what it has done, obviously it makes sense within the universe they've done, but I will stand and say that I don't think a movie like that has been made. The things they do in that movie, I don't think has ever been done. I kind of think it opens up a whole new world, and I think it would be awesome and hilarious if some movies just started to cross over like that. Like, I don't know if it takes us one step closer to... I don't know if it...
My thought process went to fucking basketball on how people got sick of sports. So they started to do interleague play. And when that got too tiring, they did inter sports play. And I'm thinking it's the same thing's happening now, but with movies. And that people are getting tired of all these different franchises. And now they're just going to start throwing the franchises together. Fucking Dom Toretto and Owen Grady taking down Raptors in a fucking Ford Focus of all cars. Do it. Greenlit. Ford's on board.
I was just going to say, like, I wonder if it would be awesome, or is it taking us like one step closer towards the stupidity universe? Like,
no. This is going to be terrific. Honestly, everything should have a multiverse. Just let it all go.
Yeah. Just like,
it's going to be like
just
Dominic Toretto's going to like, we need some help. And then all of a sudden, like, the Terminator and Rocky Balboa walk out, and you're like, what?
Like, I think that'd be amazing. That, like, if you want to get people back to the theater, you got to keep doing that kind of shit.
Yeah, like, you don't need to go for an Oscar. You just need people to have fun again.
Yeah.
I want a $1 billion budget of people playing in my toy box from when I was a kid. Like, just take them all out. Dump it out.
Literally that one scene from Indian in the Cupboard where he throws all of his toys in there, turns the key, opens it up, and you got, like, Darth Vader fighting the Terminator and like G.I. Joe grappling against fucking like, I don't know, Ryu. I don't remember this scene, but like everything.
Probably not as cool as that.
Mix it all up together, and no one wants to see the Oscar bait movies. You want to make those? Fine, go for it, but they're not going to make money. Do you want to read like a really well thought out book, or do you want to have something super fun that you can enjoy when you have time for it? Like, yes, it's the Oscar bait stuff and the stuff that's actually well made, well acted, well directed, well written, well shot. Those still have their place, but in this day and age, it's like, come on, we want the spectacle. We want to be able to see.
They can coexist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I
both
enjoy
stuff.
both, but
for different reasons, yeah.
It depends on the movie in terms of like, I'm not necessarily going to go out to the theater to see like, I don't know, Spotlight or Zodiac or something like that. Like that I can just watch from home because I'm like, I'm more interested in the story. It doesn't need to be a big spectacle. I don't need like a 100-foot screen IMAX for this thing. But if it's like, they have the end of Ready Player One, where they have like a Gundam and the Iron Giant and like the power, like all of these things going on. If they had an entire movie that was just wall to wall that the entire time, yeah, I'm going to a theater to see it. Like that's not going to fit on my TV adequately.
I'm a little butthurt about Ridley Scott's comment about how like, oh, millennials are killing the movie industry because no one saw my movie. They just want to see Marvel flicks. It's like, dude, I'm sure your movie was fucking good, but I'd rather see Spider-Man in the theaters and risk COVID and go through all the loops and like go through all the red tape in order to watch this movie than to go see your flick that's probably going to be on a streaming service in like 3 weeks. And no one's going to talk about it anyway.
Like I was excited and I kind of, well, not excited. I wanted to see The Last Duel. I will probably sit down and watch The Last Duel. I also want to see House of Gucci. We will probably sit down and watch it. I am not taking a day off from work trying to locate a theater out in the middle of nowhere for a 1 o'clock matinee to make sure I'm the only person in the theater to go in and see The Last Duel. And I'm doing that for No Way Home.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it. But yeah, I'm not going to go out of my way in order to watch it. No.
There's a place for all of those movies. The millennials aren't killing the movie industry because they're only going to see that. They're just being selective with their money, time, and the fact that we're still in a pandemic for the past 2 years to go see a 3-hour Ridley Scott epic.
Yeah, it's unfair to make any of those comments in today's, and just the current climate. Yeah, economy and pandemic notwithstanding.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same case if I think Scorsese was making comments on how superhero movies have ruined the film industry or something to that effect. And I think a lot of those movies, like, granted, they may be formulaic, they may be cookie cutter, but if they're getting people out there to see movies and they're things that people are enjoying, then yeah, they're doing a great job then if that's the case. Like, there's a lot of other like, I love horror movies. There's a lot of cookie cutter slashers throughout the 80s and 90s. I wouldn't exactly say that those were destroying the movie industry. It's just if you don't like it, you don't go see it. If people prefer your movie, they will go see your movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, Wolf of Wall Street did well, right? I mean, that didn't come out that long ago.
I mean, here's a hot take. Humanity likes mythology. We've been writing it ever since we started to write. We have all the different, mythologies that are currently available, and just the Marvel movies are modern mythology. That's when you break it down 1,000 years from now, when we're all, fossilized in fucking dirt, people are still going to know who the fuck Iron Man is and the fucking snap that he did at the end, That's going to live on through the rest of time. And people enjoy it. And not to mention, I saw Iron Man fucking 12 years ago? 15 years ago? A long time ago. That still matters, Me watching fucking Goodfellas, yes, it's a great movie, but it has no impact on any other movie that I can currently see. It's a one-shot story that will never resurface again afterward,
Yeah, because, I mean, granted, movies like that then gave people inspiration to do other ones. So granted, there's a lot of movies that drew from things like Goodfellas or drew from previous films. But you don't have to see that. It's not like a continuation. It's not like the Marvel movies, this train's a rolling. Like 10 years from now, when they're on like phase 6 or whatever the case is going to be, like there's still going to be references. You're still going to go back and watch these. But it's not like how I can watch King of Comedy and say, yep, one and done. There's nothing that's going to reference this later on.
If he hyped a Gladiator sequel with the possibility of Maximus coming back, he would have gotten the same hype as No Way Home. But he's just a little butthurt. I don't give a fuck if Ridley Scott hears this, because you know what? You were a little fucking toddler when you found out that someone else wanted to play with your Alien franchise, so you stole that shit from Neil Blomkamp and decided to make that garbage that was Alien Covenant, because you wanted to be like, oh no, this is my toy, I want to play with it. He's just fucking butthurt because his movie didn't compare and compete well against a massive blockbuster that people have been talking about for fucking years. The second Toby and Andrew were teased about, like, hey, they have actual possibility of entering this movie. Massive hype. Massive hype. I was a week and a half late seeing that movie, and the theater was still packed on a fucking off day in the first showing of the day. We're in a pandemic still. Like, that's... what the fuck? I was utterly shocked. When I bought tickets, theater was empty. Figured no one's going to show up on a Tuesday, like 2 weeks late to this movie, and it was fucking packed. He's butthurt that he couldn't get that. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't even get like a full theater showing opening night.
Now I want to see a Gladiator 2, where Joaquin Phoenix comes back, and Russell Crowe is alive again, and then he has like 10 gladiators, and he's like, but I brought friends, and then it's Rocky Balboa and the Terminator walk out.
They even get fucking Richard Harris back from the dead.
I think, I guess I would see it, he's being more of a Hades movie if he's dead. Like, fight his way out from the underworld.
I'd watch it.
He could literally make the God of War series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just turns into God of War.
Yep.
And then he'd be complaining that all these Oscar bait movies are taking away from the summer blockbusters.
I said everything right from the heart. So
we love all the gamut of these movies. So I will sit down and watch a Oscar film. I will sit down and watch a superhero film. There's a place for all of them. You don't need to complain about one because the other still exists.
I mean, have Oscar movies ever made money? How many of them make money? The ones that...
Oh, I'm sure Annie Hall made a ton of money.
I mean, like, nowadays. Like, you're saying, like, millennials killed it.
I mean, I don't think any of them are losing money, but they're just...
Right. But they're not, like...
Yeah,
it's the same as they've always been. Like, most of the country hasn't heard of it, won't watch it.
There's been exceptions.
That's just how it's always been. Yeah, like, some big... Yes.
Like, I know, like, Slumdog Millionaire made a ton of money when it came out. It was just one of those, like, sleeper hits. And then it swept the Oscars.
With the advent of streaming, especially, there's always going to be a desire for content. And, like, artists and the auteurs are still going to have an avenue to make films. So I don't know what he's... Yeah. I don't know what he's worried about.
So Fast and the Furious started in 2001.
I have a soft spot for Fast and the Furious 1. Because that one is so radically different than the whole rest of it. And it's just like...
I love the comparisons that people make.
Like,
it's so it comes up every time, but it's so accurate.
Like, only coming in on like the fifth or whatever it was, and then going back and seeing the original... It had, like you said, it's such a different feel and tone because it's so understated compared to the later ones.
The scale is very
they're stealing
small.
DVD players off a truck. That's the heist. Like, it felt almost quaint, but it's something so charming about it that it's... Granted, I saw it so late after the other ones, so I never saw it's getting kind of ramped up into this weird territory. It's like, no, I started with a weird territory. We're coming back down to see where this came from. And I love it. It's great. Even Tokyo Drift.
Really humble beginnings.
Tokyo Drift in itself was a pleasant surprise. because you're expecting, like, where the fuck is Dom? Where's Paul Walker and Michelle Rodriguez? Where's the principal cast? Why is this called Fast and the Furious 3? And none of the cast members are, who the fuck is this Han guy? And the movie itself is really fucking good. I liked it a lot better than 2.
Yeah.
Whatever 2 was. Too Fast.
That was the first one with the Tyrese.
Yeah. No, I meant the title. Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh, Too Fast, Too Furious. Yeah, and then Tokyo Drift was a real Season of the Witch situation.
I guess it was, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I had a lot of friends growing up that were gearheads, and they really loved this and Gone in 60 Seconds. And I was a little bit of a gearhead myself in like late middle school, early high school. And all of those cars that you saw in the movie were more street cars. They were like shit that you could actually see on the street, just souped up stuff versus just the ultra premium shit that no one could fucking afford in these movies nowadays, you know? Or like, you know, I don't really see, I'm out of touch with all of the cars and stuff nowadays, but I'm sure all of those cars now in the movies are like way too expensive for the everyman.
Oh yeah. I mean, they go from having like a Subaru WRX with like an aftermarket kit of some sort in the first one, and then all of a sudden now it's, yeah, we're all driving solid gold Bugattis that were made like in our own private factory, kind of like it's all these multi-million-dollar cars now, which is fun. I mean, I still love the whole sequence of them having to steal the car out of like the penthouse in the building and driving between buildings. But something will always miss the first one just for the kind of normalcy.
None of those people have training.
No.
They're international spies, spec ops.
I just love how, if you really think about it over time, they start like roping like Paul Walker's in there after he like goes on the lam after the whole FBI thing. And then he starts roping in Dominic and his crew, and it's, what credentials do they have to really be called in on like a job like this? They were stealing DVD players off a truck. I don't really think they're the guys who you really need in like this sting operation. But hey, it works.
Was it Fast and it was the fourth one where it started to like, that started the trajectory to like, what the fuck? They have a...
Because the original trilogy was almost self-contained. And then 4 was when, like, hey, let's actually build a Fast and the Furious universe here.
Because I think 4 is Dom and Brian, and I think that's the one that ends with them driving through the tunnels or something like that, like them old mining tunnels.
Yes. I think that's where Letty dies.
I think so, yeah. Because then 5 is in Brazil when they introduce The Rock and they have the bank vault thing. And then 6 is the one where it gets hazy. I forget 6, because then 7 is the one with Jason Statham.
So it's the end of 6 where Han is supposedly dead. That's where Jason Statham's introduced, right?
Yes.
Yeah. In any case, they're big, fun, dumb, hilarious movies.
Because 6 is the one that ends with the whole plane sequence taking off. And they're trying to like lasso the plane back down. And that's when, spoilers, but that's when Gal Gadot gets got.
Good riddance. No.
Still angry about Wonder Woman 84? So, in so many words, that's the Fast and the Furious series.
I'll watch sight unseen. Like if you said, "Here's the new Fast and the Furious movie," I'd be like, "Let's go." And knowing nothing about it, I'm like, "We're going."
Yeah.
I think in the next one, it'll be like they'll go into the quantum world or something, or be time travel. Maybe time travel will be involved.
I'm really putting money on dinosaurs.
No, that'll be Fast 15.
They've been talking about it the last couple of years, and I'm expecting the hype. People have like on Reddit and should have been saying, like, you know, they're both owned by Universal. It makes sense.
Because I think there was a passing comment or something, because we actually talked about this on an episode last year, for like our third rule of thirds, that I think it was like the Fast and the Furious director or something, or the Jurassic World director made a comment of, oh yeah, like I would love to have a crossover. And then it just blew up from there.
Yeah, see, yes. Can you imagine Dom racing like a raptor? Track raptor?
Yeah, I can just reuse the sound clips I put together from that episode.
One last ride.
Dominic.
But Dom. But I'm waiting for like Fast 15 when they introduce that. That way they can be like, the only way to fight a dinosaur is with another dinosaur, and Dom is like 75.
Oh god. As much as it seems dumb and people would roll their eyes, they'll be like, yeah, start crossing over movies in a surprising way that like you wouldn't have thought of. Because again, I know for No Way Home it makes sense with the world they build, but it was still incredible to see that happen on film. Let's open the floodgates here. Let's do it some more.
Realistically, it's like there are no rules.
No.
Do what you want. Like if you're a studio who has access to characters, it's like just go nuts. It doesn't even need to be canon. You can just at the end of it be like, oh, and everybody forgot, and they went back to what they were doing.
From a dream.
Yeah.
Disney's been enjoying it. I know they've been.
It's like What If, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disney's been leaking Star Wars stuff into Marvel. I'm waiting for that. It'd be cool to see a lightsaber in Multiverse of Madness.
Wait, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
About Disney?
Well, Disney owns Marvel and Star Wars. So.
Yeah.
Because in the new episode of Book of Boba Fett, he wears a Wolverine t-shirt.
Really?
No.
Okay.
In Eternals, you know, they're watching Empire Strikes Back. You know, the obvious Star Wars reference in Civil War.
But they exist as movies.
Right. But I mean, they own it. So, I mean, why not?
How about just one of the, like, one of the characters is like, I actually built a fucking lightsaber based on the real.
I mean, they have a talking tree. I mean, I'm sure they'll figure out a way.
I mean,
somebody in space could build a lightsaber.
Like, it also, if they're introducing, like, the Fantastic Four and whatnot, or they're introducing, like, the X-Men kind of deal, they have characters like Professor X or Jean Grey or, like, Franklin Richards, people who have control over, like, minds and reality. They can easily just be, like, a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man situation of, like, oh, it's what he was thinking of. Oh, no, we summoned Darth Vader. We have the rights. We can do it.
This could go on all night, but do you think? I mean, X-Men's inevitable, right? Do you think they won't keep it as a separate thing, or what do you think?
Yeah, it'll eventually be in the MCU,
and they will. I assume they'll start from scratch.
Yeah, more than likely. My guess is they're probably going to tease it during this phase. If not, like, the next couple movies, like, at some point this phase. And then probably bring the mutants in kind of in full force during the next phase.
My guess is... I'm probably wrong, but because of the popularity, I'd assume they would do something with, like, Wolverine. Or, like, post-credits
that's
scene,
the
and
catch.
there's, like, Wolverine.
Because Wolverine is Fox's, like, it's their cash cow. So
well, yeah, but Disney owns them now.
Officially, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of 21st Century Fox.
So they can go nuts.
Go nuts.
It's their cash cow now. But yeah, it'll probably just be like you'll see a hand at the bar or something, just like put out a cigar.
Or just as simple as the First Class, where his like cameo was like, go fuck yourself.
I saw they're already starting to tease Fantastic Four. There's a Von Doom Easter egg in the Moon Knight trailer.
Oh.
I guess he owns a company.
I haven't watched the Moonlight trailer yet, but in preparation, like, I've only read a little bit of Moon Knight over the years, so I've been going back and kind of catching up on all the major points I missed just to see what they end up having in there.
What other property does Oscar Isaac have to be in for like a... He has to be in like a
hat
Disney cartoon movie.
Oh, he played
It's
Ivan
like one of their
Ooze.
musicals.
He played an X-Wing fighter pilot. What else do you mean?
Well, now he's in the Marvel Universe.
Well, he was in the Marvel Universe before.
Wait, was he?
He was Ivan Ooze.
Yeah.
He was Apocalypse in X-Men.
Whatever.
I don't count the Fox world as that, but I guess that's true.
So yeah, now he's been in the official MCU. He's been in Star Wars.
I guess it would just have to be like a Disney musical movie or something.
He just has to be in an episode of Simpsons. And the Disney Plus trifecta.
I'm sure he was.
Voice in a Pixar movie.
What? No, you just said Simpsons, not Pixar.
No. I was just saying like that would be the other thing. Just have a voice in a Pixar movie.
He was not in Simpsons.
He will be a voice in a Disney movie. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
Doesn't count.
He's Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099.
Does not count.
It counts.
It's got to be singing. It's got to be like a Frozen movie. He's got to be a Disney prince. So that's the Fast and the Furious.
So that's the Fast and the Furious series. It was a pleasant surprise. It was a weird list between the three of us today.
That made it fun.
So, Dean, thank you for this.
You're welcome.
So, with that, okay, gang, that wraps up another episode of Rule of Thirds, and we'd like to thank you for coming along for the ride and discussing our pleasant surprises. As always, you can reach us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Screen Refresh, or shoot an email at screenrefresh@gmail.com. Let us know what your top 3 would be, or if you have any topics you want to hear us discuss. That's it for us. So for Nick and Dean, this is Tim. Have a great week and catch us on the next Screen Refresh, the first Monday of the month.
I'm still bitter about Ridley Scott.
Millennials are ruining fucking movies. I don't know what he sounds like. He's 80.